It's 10 o'clock, and this is Fox 10 Talks. An arrest has been made in one of the more mysterious murder cases that we have followed here at Fox 10 in the last several years. There is a news conference. We are standing by to take you there live. Here is the view of the podium. It has not begun, but the moment it does, Sheriff Jerry Sheridan and other officials, actually, it looks like we're getting a little bit closer here. All right, here we go. Let's listen live.
I wish I didn't have to stand here and talk about this case. So I'm going to make a few comments. We're going to call Captain Lee. He led the investigation. And then we'll have a comment from somebody I think you'll find very interesting. So, what a senseless, violent act, the murder of two young teenagers while out camping. Then comes the parents' worst nightmare, knock on the door by a sheriff's detective to tell them that their child is dead. I really want to talk about the detectives that worked this case. It's been a very difficult case to work. It happened in such a remote area. They couldn't rely on Ring cameras. They couldn't rely on pings from cell phones. And they couldn't rely on any other video that normally we would have in an urban area. So it made it very difficult and a technical investigation. And that's why it's taken this long to get this far. But I can tell you the detectives for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office are some of the most dedicated law enforcement officers I've seen in my 40-plus year career. They worked hard. They worked days on end without going home to their own families, to their own children, to try and do the best they can to come to a conclusion with this case. And don't ever forget the emotional toll that it also takes on those detectives, almost as much as the family members themselves. So with that, I'd like to bring up Captain Lee, who led this case and led the detectives to the conclusion that we came to yesterday. So thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. My name is Captain Lee of the Major Crimes Division. This is where our homicide unit resides. Today we're here to share some publicly releasable information regarding the murder of Pandora Kolsrud and Evan Clark in May of this year. I'd be remiss if I didn't first share my own condolences with Evan and Pandora's family and friends. I can't find the words to express how sorry we are for what they've gone through and for the continuing victimization that a crime like this causes. Those families want answers, and due to the litigious society that we live in, we have to be careful with the details that we share early on in cases like this. I know that this is frustrating to these families in grief, but we can't rewind the hands of time and give them what they really want back, which is what they've lost. All we can do is fight for justice for Pandora and Evan, and we remain dedicated to this cause. I'm going to give you some background about the case. On May 26th, the Gila County Sheriff's Office received a call for service about an overdue party located in the Mount Ord area. Mount Ord is a popular camping location and a mountain in the Tonto National Forest. It's off State Route 87, somewhere between Mesa and Payson. The complainant advised GCSO that her daughter was out camping with friends, and her last known location was on Mount Ord. The complainant also provided pictures for us of her daughter's camping trip, which she had received around May 25th. When the GCSO sergeant arrived in that area, he located a vehicle later identified as belonging to Evan Clark parked off of the road. The sergeant tried to make contact with any occupants there, but was unable to, and he made some suspicious observations regarding that car. The sergeant requested some backup, and a deputy arrived later to assist him on scene. GCSO deputies did not find anyone around the vehicle and later continued their search until they found a campground up further on the mountain. In that campsite, they noticed conditions that suggested there was evidence of something being dragged away from that camp area. They would then locate the bodies of Pandora Kolsrud and Evan Clark, who were pronounced deceased on the scene. GCSO advised the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office Communications Center that they were out with a vehicle and had located 2 deceased individuals within our jurisdiction. In the early hours of May 27th, MCSO deputies, along with the homicide detectives, responded to Mount Ord to assist those GCSO deputies. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office established jurisdiction in this matter based upon the location of this incident, and the reason for that is that the county line between Maricopa County and Gila County runs right through Mount Ord. Detectives spoke to the parents of both victims, who disclosed that the victims had left their residence in the morning of May 25th. The detectives learned that the victims were planning on camping at Mount Ord for the day and returning later on the 26th. The detectives processed multiple scenes and found many potential items of evidence and of value to us. Detectives received various tips regarding this incident over the next several days and weeks, and one of those tips revealed that there was a male subject identified as Thomas Brown who advised he had been camping on Mount Ord on that particular day. Detectives also received a tip from another group of campers who they say was camping on Mount Ord the evening of the 25th and left on the morning of the 26th. That tip indicated that the campers, while they were there, encountered an individual that they perceived as acting very strangely. The tip from those campers detailed some very specific observations that caused our detectives to heighten our focus and focus our investigative efforts into Thomas Brown's involvement, in addition to continuing to follow all the other leads that we had. During an interview with those same tipsters, they remembered parts of their outing and delineated specific facts that resolved some of the questions surrounding the location and position of evidence gathered at the crime scene. Some of this information corroborated evidence pointing to Brown's involvement in Evan and Pandora's murder. During an interview with Thomas Brown, he told detectives that he had been camping on Mount Ord from the 23rd of May to the 26th, and he had been with his wife. According to Thomas, his wife left the morning of the 25th, and he stayed behind until the morning of the 26th. He mentioned that he flew a drone around the mountain, and that was one of the reasons that we had contacted him. And he mentioned also that he had encountered a younger male and female who were in a vehicle that he described as matching Evan's car. It should be noted that Brown's descriptions regarding the victims and the victim's vehicle were consistent with those persons in those vehicles. During Brown's interview, he was asked about his travels on the mountain, and specifically about his interactions with some of our evidentiary items. Throughout the course of the investigation, multiple DNA swabs were taken and obtained from various sources and sent out for testing, and we interviewed quite a few people. Throughout the course of the investigation, based on that evidence collected, Thomas Brown provided false and misleading information regarding his involvement. It was the comparison of his statements and that physical evidence that led us to believe that. He was apprehended and booked into MCSO jail yesterday for 2 counts of first-degree murder. I want to thank all those involved in helping bring this case to the point where it is right now. Responding GCSO deputies helped us in preserving that scene. We only get one shot at that. Lake Patrol deputies and MCSO deputies, as well as all the detectives that we had respond, the evidence technicians, the lab personnel that have worked on this case, the computer forensic experts that we still have working. Our partnership with the FBI was extremely helpful during this. Our tactical folks that helped us with other aspects of this were also extremely helpful. All those supporting personnel who worked tirelessly, hand in hand, in this fight for justice for Evan and Pandora and their families and friends. These detectives and the other personnel have made quite an investigative feat. Outdoor scenes, as the sheriff said, are challenging. They present various difficulties, and you can only speculate as to what those can be. I want to thank the sheriff for his support of our homicide unit during this investigation. which, as you can imagine, has been mentally, physically, and emotionally taxing. These detectives work call-outs that last for days on end, and they stay at work chasing leads until there's nothing more that can be done. I'm proud of their efforts and for their unwavering dedication to see this case through. With each break in the case, the only thing I could do is be grateful for the professional and ethical manner in which this case has been investigated and processed. Homicide investigations take time. I want to thank Pandora and Evan's families and friends for helping us and for being patient and giving us the space and time that we needed to work. We can't share certain information along the way. Sometimes that information can jeopardize the investigation, and sharing it can really mess with the end goal of these. As I've said before, some of the details are only known to us and the suspect, and that helps us verify that we have the right person as the focus of our investigation. The ultimate goal of this process is to prevent further violence and danger to the community, identify the correct suspect, put together a complete investigation, and not only arrest but ensure the successful prosecution of this case. The product that we lay on the altar of justice, which hopefully allows us to bring a sliver of peace and closure to family and friends of Pandora and Evan, is all we can do. I've been purposely vague on some details, and although we've made an arrest, we're still pre-indictment. I need to respect the hard work of our detectives by not negating all their work by sharing too much too early. And I need to respect the privacy of Evan and Pandora's families. Their loss has been in the public eye, and they deserve dignity, peace, and respect, and they deserve that more than the public needs to have their curiosity satisfied. At this time, I ask the public to give them space and respect as you would want if you found yourself in their unfortunate place. This investigation is still ongoing, and I have to remind everyone that these are allegations at this point, and Thomas Brown is considered innocent until proven guilty. Due to what I've just shared, I'll not be answering any questions regarding the specifics on evidence or witness testimony. But at this time, we do not have any information to suggest that there was any evidence of any connection between Evan Clark, Pandora Kolsrud, and Thomas Brown. We're unaware of any allegation that Evan and Pandora's action or conduct contributed to their deaths. At this time, the information we have suggested that Brown acted alone and that there was no further danger to the community from him. Murder is one of the most heinous crimes.
We are going to continue to monitor. On some platforms, you'll see a break coming up. If not, you can hang right here with us with the latest developments on this case. We're also streaming on our alternate YouTube channel. Stay with us.
Job experiences, musical performance, movie nights, games, comfort, hugs. In the case of these two young people, future spouses and families, grandchildren, children, they were about to begin their senior year of high school, and they would soon be finding their way in the world, and they had a lifetime of experiences to look forward to. Having said that, I'd like to introduce you to someone that I've gotten to know well during this investigative process. This is Chantel Solomon. She is Pandora's mother. We're going to turn the time over to her.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you've done for me over the past few months. My daughter, Pandora, was a beautiful, brilliant light in this world. She was so full of life and joy and love. She was the type of person you never forget after meeting her. She was always up for an adventure, and she lived every day to the fullest. Everyone who spent time with her walked away feeling her love and joy. Her joyful spirit was contagious. She had a genuine curiosity and interest in every single person she ever met. She was the kid at school who befriended every teacher and every security guard and everyone she met. She was the kid that was waving and smiling at everybody and left people feeling good. She has a big family and a lot of friends. She is so loved by so many people. We are all devastated, and we miss her every day.
This is Pandora's mother for all of you who have just come back from a commercial break. Pandora Kolsrud and Evan Clark were found killed just off the State Route 87, and she is now speaking. Let's listen live.
The darkness that she encountered on that day when she met her killer will not define her life. His darkness will never overcome her light. Over the past 4 months, I have prayed every day that her killer would eventually be brought to justice. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and all the homicide detectives and the FBI and all of the agencies who've contributed to this meticulous and thorough investigation. I will forever be grateful for their tireless efforts to bring justice for my daughter. She deserves justice. The homicide detectives have done an excellent job to identify the perpetrator and build the evidence necessary for an arrest. I have full faith in our judicial system to evaluate the evidence in this double homicide and find the perpetrator guilty of the violent murders he committed against 2 innocent teenagers. My daughter's life matters, and I look forward to the day the perpetrator is convicted and punished for his crimes. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. It really helps to bring the reason for what we do into focus here and give some perspective to everything else that's going on. At this time, we're going to take a few questions for just a few minutes. As I said earlier, I really don't want to take any specific questions regarding items of evidence that have already been mentioned. But with that, aware of social media posts, yeah. Okay.
Is there anything you could say?
All I can say is that they were both shot multiple times.
We know that he
Civic at this time.
could you speak?
So, generally speaking, 3D printed weapons, it's not something that functions the way a weapon that one of us carries at work, where it's repeatable, it's reliable, it continues to work. It's usually something that's got just a couple shots in it, and it's not really capable of continuing to fire, reloading quickly, things like that. And that's just generally speaking. As far as the weapon, I can't speak to whether or not that is what was used. We did obtain items of evidence related to the reason he came forward.
And he admitted to having.
We have no evidence to suggest that there was any meetup or there was any pre-relationship or that there was any way that they were associated beforehand, that there had been any communication. They were, as far as we know, complete strangers.
This is a random attack.
We can't answer that question.
You described this as senseless.
For us to speculate as far as the motive right now would not be helpful for the case.
Where was he arrested to? The court documents.
We had to go arrest him. Okay. Yeah. So he was, I don't know why it would list the location as Durango Street. That would be, yeah, probably the location of the jail, I'm imagining.
Correct.
Yeah. But he did not self-surrender, no.
All right, so we have been monitoring this news conference. It's a story that I think shocked so many people. You've got a couple of, you got a young man and a young lady here who it's just right at the end of the school year.
Yeah.
There had been graduation celebrations, etc., and then their bodies found. The family's heartbroken, but now an arrest has been made. I should also mention, Celeste, we have Lauren Clark with us.
Hi, Lauren.
And Lauren, you've been following this story really since it broke.
You know, I am just so stunned here by just the cruelty of this, and we don't know too many details, but just the fact that we have two young souls who are lost as a result of this from our community is just so jarring to me. And we got some details from police. We know that an arrest has been made. You even saw MCSO even giving us video of everything that they were processing the suspect, 31-year-old Brown, in their offices. You saw video of him taking his headshot for that mugshot there. And what really kind of strikes me is we have some answers to this, but we still don't have the main answer that I think is on the minds of so many people in our community, and that's why. You heard that investigator say that he wasn't going to speculate on the motive at this point, but that's still the question that so many people are wondering.
I think so too. And to kind of give some of you who don't have a lot of details about the story some background, it was at the end of the school year, and there was a group of students from Arcadia High School who went up and then kind of hanging out up there in this area off of 87, State Road 87. And most of the people left. They were able to get away, go home. But for whatever reason, and we still don't know because those details haven't been revealed, why these two teenagers decided to stay up there. And then, the details came out that they were murdered, and then we started to cover the case. And then listening to the press conference, I think, and you mentioned the video, Lauren, and the processing video, we don't usually see that. So I thought that was very interesting to see. And maybe it was part of watching his demeanor. Maybe they wanted the public to see his demeanor and how he was through that entire process. We did have a question in the chat. I think it may have been Charles David. He asked, what was that machine that they used that there was like scanning his body?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have no idea.
I wonder if it was like checking. They have new machines now at TSA that scan like every cavity in your body. And I think at the jail cells they do now too.
And the first time we actually saw that video was just, or that whole process was just a couple of weeks ago when they said we are going way more extensive now for security purposes. So I think it's like a souped up version of what you go through at the airport, TSA, that is almost like going through an x-ray.
Yeah. And we had Sheriff Sheridan in studio not too long after this happened. They've been really busy covering that case with the pastor who was killed up in New River. So we were chatting with him about both of the cases, and off camera I asked him, I said, what's going on with this the story with the two teenagers? And this was like in June. And they said, wow, it's kind of it's a really unique case. Like we don't have much to go on, but our detectives are working really hard. And so now you have this break in the case, and I think a little bit of relief for the families. I mean, I have teenagers, and I think for a lot of people who've had children who are in high school, and you think, my goodness, they're so young. They had their whole lives ahead of them. I believe one was a senior, one was a sophomore, and the community has rallied around this family, both of the families. But it's heartbreaking.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking.
It really is.
And it sounds like, Lauren, as we were listening in, that the chief investigator there did reference the drone video. It sounds like maybe that played a role in this case.
It did. And we'll definitely have to talk to Kenzie a little bit after that, because I was hearing from some folks in our morning meeting that Kenzie actually had reached out to this suspect earlier because he had posted this drone video of the mountain at that time.
Of the very area.
Of the very area. And she had reached out to him to see if he wanted to talk and get video. And apparently there was some weird vibes there from what I heard in the meeting. But this is really the astonishing part. According to court records, it seems like there was the whole reason that the suspect was even on the radar of investigators is because of this drone video, contacting investigators saying, I have this drone video, and then saying that he had contact with these two teens. And then it was that DNA, according to court records, that they found that they were able to definitively match.
And do we know, was that a familial DNA situation, or they did say that they had swabbed him when
and
they ran into him.
And they found something there too.
Yes,
right?
and they found something there too. They found this glove, this bloodied glove that they were able to collect some DNA from. We'll have to do a little bit more reading and trying to ask a little bit more questions over how that DNA occurred. Was this a situation where police or deputies built up enough probable cause, and then when they arrested him, they were able to take that swab and there was that match? Or was there something like CODIS? It doesn't look like he has any previous records, but CODIS is a system that police use that every time if you're convicted of a serious crime, they can take your DNA, and then that's put in this whole system here. So if you commit another crime, they can put in DNA and try to, make matches. Then there's also the familial DNA that they've been using in some investigations as well. So we'll have to do a little bit of some digging there over how that happened. But we do know, according to investigators, that there was a DNA match.
I think it's wild that he's the one who contacted the authorities to say I had this. It almost was like a reverse psychology type of thing, or you never know what goes through the minds. I know we have to wrap to go to break, Ron. I wanted to take a quick moment and just say, Lauren, you're amazing. Lauren, today's her last day.
We have to say our goodbyes to Lauren.
Yeah,
everybody. We can't believe
she's
it.
pursuing a law degree, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're so happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are an amazing reporter. No doubt you're going to be an amazing attorney, and it was great to work with you here.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're so great.
Now, technically, she's on the clock till 5, so we
could call her back.
No, we can still talk her out of it, Celeste. It's now or never.
Can we chain the doors?
Yeah, you've been amazing to work with,
thank
Lauren.
You guys,
we're gonna
you
miss
too.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We have plenty more. Mark Kelly, I just talked to the Arizona senator within the last couple hours on this standoff. We'll be right back. All right, everybody.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. A couple of you are guessing. We're going to get to the mystery cam eventually, but we have so much ground to cover today. We really do. That was great with Lauren Celeste.
Yeah, it
We're going
was.
to miss her so much.
We are.
One of the best reporters we've ever had in this newsroom.
And she'll be one of the best attorneys.
Yes, she will.
And we can have her back on to give us
Correct.
an inside scoop.
Parting shot, I said, don't forget us when your law firm has 30 employees and you think you're sort of a big shot. Still come and chat with us.
Thank you, please.
Okay. Hey, we're really looking forward to this interview. We have from the New York Times, Ruth Igielnick, who is, she does a great job for them. You know, I love my New York Times subscription. Ruth, will you tell them I get it full value at $2 a week? Don't raise it anytime soon. Can you pass that along
I'll have a word with them.
to the higher ups?
Yeah, and can you ask the editor of Wordle to make it just a little bit easier, please?
Can we skip words like geese? I mean, it's
Thank
a G,
you.
an S, and a bunch
That
of
was a
E's.
hard one.
Yeah, it
fun.
was. I even had trouble with Quill a couple weeks ago. It's like,
Right?
come on.
All right. We invited Ruth to come on and talk about, she does a great job kind of, getting her finger on the pulse of the country by analyzing a lot of the polling that is done. And Ruth, we got plenty of topics to get to. I thought we want to talk Gaza. I mean, the president put out a very strongly worded statement this morning. We want to get into that. We want to get into this shutdown. Can you give us the overall view right now on where President Trump stands with voters / likely voters / the American public now that he's been in office for, let's see, about 8 months or so?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we conducted a large national poll of 1,300 people, and our goal was to really understand where President Trump stands today. And the answer is not a lot has changed. So we polled in April when President Trump was about 100 days into office, and we polled again now, and his numbers are pretty similar. He's underwater with Americans, meaning more Americans disapprove than approve of his job performance. But not a lot has changed. If you approved of him 6 months ago, you approve of him now. If you disapproved of him 6 months ago, you disapprove of him now. And that's on a whole host of issues. It's overall, but it's also on immigration, on tariffs, on managing the federal government. Issue after issue, voters are pretty dug in. You either like President Trump or you don't.
That is so fascinating to me because, of course, he is, a kind of singular individual at the White House because he's really trying to kind of remold the government in his view of how things should be. I mean, we've seen a lot of things that we've really never seen before.
Right.
And for the most part, he seems to be able to kind of get his agenda through. But what about Ruth? Celeste joins us. Well, I know you have plenty of questions as well, Celeste. But what about with independents? I can see where Republican voters who were with him before are still pretty much with him, 90% plus. Democrats who didn't like him voted against him, same way. Any shift in independence?
No shift in independence, though he is not doing well with independents. 6 in 10 independents don't like the job he's doing. Independents view him fairly negatively, but there hasn't really been a big shift there. They kind of either liked him before or didn't, and that's been pretty static.
What are some of the issues that you're seeing with some of your polling numbers that voters are most interested in right now?
So there's been a big shift. Before the election, we heard the economy, and even in April, the economy. But more and more voters are concerned about polarization and politics and the state of our politics. This is kind of a rising concern with voters across both parties.
Now, since you mentioned the economy, let's shift to that for just a minute, because I think there's growing anxiety for people, all these layoffs, especially in the tech world,
Right.
Worries that AI might take my job someday. The economy's softening enough that the Federal Reserve's finally talking about lowering interest rates. But at the same time, the stock market, I don't know if I have it up right now, but it's up 400 points today. It might hit 47,000 for the first time in history.
That's a big number.
It seems like such a dichotomy. Have you been able to kind of read through the polls as to what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated moment. And again, we see it through the lens of partisanship, which is to say most voters think the economy isn't doing great right now, but it's really partisan. If you're a Democrat, you feel especially bad about the economy. Maybe there's some of that anxiety about job loss, but Republicans are actually increasingly saying that the economy is better, and particularly that Trump made the economy better. We saw 20-point jumps in the share of Republicans who said that they felt Trump made the economy better, that they felt that Trump's policies helped them personally. Now, it's hard to tell if this is tied to specific changes in the economy or if this is just kind of a coming home of Republicans. There was a lot of anxiety in April, and now Republicans have really settled back into full support of the president.
You were chatting a little bit about independence, and with the whole MAHA and RFK Jr. and the Tylenol thing, the acetaminophen, have you all had time to poll about the healthcare issue? And I know we're talking, that's kind of what's holding up the government right now with this shutdown. What are thoughts on healthcare with voters?
We didn't get a chance to really dig into the idea of healthcare. We did ask one sort of broad question about whether voters thought that independent agencies should be making some of these decisions, or whether Trump or the president in general should be weighing in. And here again, it was very partisan. Voters overall did not want the president weighing in on these decisions made by independent agencies like the CDC, but Republicans felt like that was a better decision. They thought it was okay for the president to step in. So again, it kind of filters through this partisan lens.
That was great insight, by the way. Great insight. I want to make sure before we let you go, you've been a wealth of knowledge. Such a great interview. We hope to have you back. But Brandy the Bookworm, so we have a very active chat.
Yeah.
She
and
says
the chat's going crazy right now because you're on, Ruth.
And Ruth, they're loving your curly hair.
Oh, well, thank you.
Go ahead.
That was it. They love.
Okay.
She says they love her curly hair.
One last
Thank
question
you,
for you, Ruth, before we go, and it has to do with this statement coming out of the White House today from the president saying all hell is going to break loose if Hamas does not. There's a true deadline, and it's this coming Sunday. Have you been able to gauge where people stand on the war in Gaza? Hopes for peace, hopes for ending it. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, those are the single biggest shifts that we saw in the poll. I mean, we talked before about Trump's numbers being static, but the numbers on Israel and Gaza and how people feel about that have really shifted in the last 2 years since the October 7th attack. And their voters have really moved away from support of Israel. Israel tended to be a bipartisan issue, and that has sort of shifted over these 2 years. Voters want the war to end, and they actually feel less strongly about we tested 2 goals that Israel might have before ending the war, whether it was hostages being released or Hamas being eliminated. And in either case, voters did not care about those goals. They just wanted the war to end. And that's been a pretty big shift over the last 2 years, particularly among Democrats. Democrats used to be more in favor of Israel, and they've really shifted pretty hard against Israel.
Okay, Ruth, we loved having you on as a guest. Hope we can call on you again.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Thank you, Ruth.
She's with the New York Times, follows all their polling, wealth of information. Okay, so coming up at 11:30, we have a full segment with Justin Lum. But we asked Justin to pop in now just to give us a preview of, Justin, what we're going to be talking about more at 11:30 and what your new investigation really entails. Tell us about it.
Appreciate it. Good morning, guys. Good to get a double dose on Fox 10 Talks.
Yes.
But we're really proud of this special report that we have premiering tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox Local and YouTube. It's called Runaway Teens Missing in the System, and really just powerful stories regarding 3 girls that we focused on. We've talked about this in the past. Zariah Dodd, 16 and pregnant before she was shot to death and left at a park in Phoenix after leaving her group home in Surprise. You have Emily Pike. We've talked about her in depth, 14-year-old tribal member from San Carlos Apache who had run away multiple times, but all of a sudden went missing and was found dead in a remote area outside of Globe, an hour and a half away from Mesa. And then finally, Anaya Walker, this goes back to 2020, if you guys remember, she was found dead on the I-10 median in Buckeye. And this hit and run case has not been solved. She had been in DCS custody and believed to be a victim of sex trafficking. She was only 16 years old. So hearing from these families, sitting across the table from them, finding out how they've been impacted and why these tragedies are now leading to some reform and change within the DCS system, and what red flags were missed, the patterns that we see, the gaps in communication, and the caseloads that seem to overwhelm caseworkers that are currently working for DCS.
Yeah, it's interesting, Justin. I mean, you found some similarities in these cases, and we were chatting about the person who heads up DCS. You said they're fairly new, right?
Fairly new, appointed by Governor Hobbs earlier this year. Catherine Patak was confirmed in about April, May, around that time. New as far as the director role, had been the general counsel for a couple of years. But when you look at the revolving door of leadership at DCS, there have been 5 directors, including her, since 2019. So there has been change. You guys remember back in 2014 when Governor Jan Brewer basically said we need to start over, start from scratch. CPS was no more. And then it became Department of Child Safety. So there have been a lot of changes and a lot of issues and tragedies. And these are just a few that highlight what are the systemic issues, what signs are being missed, and what needs to be changed so that this doesn't happen like it's been happening this year.
And I know you've been talking with them there at DCS. Do they admit there's a problem? Do they have a plan? Where do things stand right here today for the future?
I think recent actions show that there is some sort of accountability when we've had legislative hearings involving lawmakers, law enforcement, and DCS on what systemic changes need to be made right now. What will we see in the 2026 legislative session? So we're starting to see a little bit of change, and we get into that in our special report as we talk to lawmaker Senator Karen Werner, Arizona Republican, and a former caseworker who talks about the challenges she had. She tells me she had as many as 75 kids to manage at the height of her work when she was with DCS from 2019 to 2022. Wow. 75 kids that she had to basically...
As one caseworker?
As one caseworker. Wow. One case could have several kids, part of that family, in different group homes or foster care, and you're just trying to set your schedule to manage, I guess, this roster of children. Right. But, the title says Runaway Teens. We wanted to take that term head on and focus on the teens, the juveniles that are running away from group homes and foster care. Sometimes there is a negative connotation when you hear runaway. You think they'll come back. Maybe they're out, with their friends, but they don't get as much attention. We want to take that head on.
Justin will join us for the full segment at 11:30. We're going to learn a lot more about these individual cases. Justin, thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
You all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work.
And we're up against another break. Feels like we got a lot of breaks on this show.
What's happening,
Syleste?
Ron? Why so many breaks? Is this the mystery cam?
I don't know, but I know people here.
Do you?
I could go talk to them about all these very lengthy breaks. Where is this, everybody? Give us your mystery cam guess. We're finally getting to it. We're back in 2 minutes with Senator Kelly. You know what I love, Celeste, is
dance.
we can, of course. I go out dancing every Saturday night. Renee's like, again with the dancing?
Those leather pants, you've outgrown them, Ron.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm more of a flamenco dancer. And she's like, I don't really want to try that.
Oh, the flamenco. I can see you with the Oh, that's brilliant.
yeah.
The little black suit.
Sure.
We can get Renee a flamenco dress. Brilliant.
Oh, boy. She's turning off the set right now. Okay, so where are your guesses, you guys? What I was about to say before we took it in a different direction is I just love that normally we do it at 10:15, but we've been so busy today, we finally got to it at 10:45. You're all playing along. We're getting a bunch of great guesses. Celeste, what are you seeing on the mystery cam?
Amazing. Missouri. We've got several with Missouri.
Okay.
Some M's. Jen's Wall says Missouri with Brandy the Bookworm.
Okay.
Missouri from Troy. Louis Gonzalez. Flautas, Arizona. Mr. Paul Valine says, I'm not sure where that is, but we're going to figure it out.
Okay.
Work our way there. B. Miguel says Kentucky.
Stand by. We have a relatively new chatter in the chat box today. It's Chunk Bob. And I don't know if you want us to call you just Bob, but hey, buddy, tell us where you're from this morning. Welcome aboard.
I just love that he called himself Chonk Bob. I wonder where Chonk comes from.
You give us the whole backstory. You can just tell us, oh, yeah, I'm right here in Phoenix, or I'm in the UK, or what we got.
Oh, he says, I love Arizona. I love
Bob?
Arizona so much. I share the same. Yeah, he likes it. Okay,
Nice.
New England from Darla Nicole Clapperton. I'm going to go New England with Darla.
Okay, so like all quality labor's on today. Portland, Maine. Woohoo. I could see that being a Portland, Maine.
Rhode Island from Halaquita.
I'm going to go Wisconsin. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Are you thinking like a Green Bay?
possibly, maybe an Oshkosh bagosh. What do you got here, Celeste, for the answer?
Here we go, friends.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, is that right?
Wow. You know what is
Yeah.
who was the big family who built that mansion in Rhode Island? Was it Providence?
That's out at Newport. And
Newport,
that was
thank
the
you.
Vanderbilts, and they
Thank
built it. It was
you.
called the Breakers.
Yeah, so I happen to be on YouTube, and I think because I have the Cool House segments that I do,
Yeah.
the algorithm fed me a full episode on their mansion that they built in Rhode Island.
So here's what I bet happened. You were looking for pictures of your home. And all of a sudden, this one pops up, and you're like, wait, is that my house?
Wait, is that grand staircase to my bedroom? What is happening?
They have a fireplace in there that's about bigger than our entire studio here. It's unbelievable.
You can tour it.
Oh, it's amazing.
And it's right on the
worth
water.
it.
It was really interesting. They eventually lost all their money.
Yeah.
But they.
I think they held on to some.
Well, not all, but they weren't that wealthy anymore. They fell on hard times.
Well, it was the Commodore. The Commodore Vanderbilt was the first guy who made his money, and then it just spread through the whole family. And he did it, by the way, in the ferry business.
You're right.
He ran the ferries in New York City, and boy, he made a bundle.
Is he also the one that sang and wrote Brick House?
Or is that the other Commodores? We'll have to really dig into that. Who knows? Maybe Dave knows the answer to that. We are about 2 minutes. No, hold on. We're actually about 6 minutes away from Big D. We got to get going.
Who are you texting, Dave?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Work related. Anyway, I interviewed Senator Mark Kelly just a little while ago, and we wanted to share that interview with you, and then we're going to get right into the talk. By the way, real quick, poll question. Let's watch those numbers move around. Which side should give in to help end this whole thing anyway? But let's talk to Senator Kelly about all this as well. Senator Mark Kelly joins us from his office in Washington. Senator, I know you believe you're fighting the good fight on Obamacare subsidies, but why not vote to keep the government funded, end the shutdown, and then take up the fight on these subsidies?
Well, we can do all of that and fix these subsidies today. It's pretty easy. And if you think my Republican colleagues, want to fix this for the American people right now, they do not. They have prioritized the tax cut for the richest Americans over the healthcare costs of hardworking people in Arizona. And the evidence of that is they just basically have refused to negotiate this. When the President of the United States over the last month has spent a grand total of 1 hour talking to Democrats in Congress about this issue. That's all the evidence you need that they do not want to fix this. They want those tax cuts to stay in place and higher premiums kick in here on January 1st, essentially, though people are going to start getting letters in the mail. They're already getting them. And when they go on the website to sign up for health care on November 1st, folks in Arizona are going to see much higher premiums. It's going to cost the average Arizonan $475 a month more. And for some individuals, they'll see their premiums double.
So, but Senator, isn't this proof that once you have funded a benefit, it's almost impossible to remove it? I mean, even if it adds to the debt, these subsidies went into effect during COVID, but COVID is over, and yet the subsidies can't be gradually reduced?
Healthcare is unaffordable for so many people across the country. And in Arizona, if there is no fix to this, the estimate is 109,000 people are not going to be able to afford their health insurance. And when that happens, and I think you probably understand this, people just drop their health insurance. And then if somebody in their family gets sick or injured, they wind up in bankruptcy. We are trying to prevent this for the 109,000 people that will lose their health insurance. But we're also trying to prevent, the other folks who are then they're going to try to figure out, okay, do I not pay the utility bill this month? Or maybe I have to sell my car to afford health insurance. My Republican colleagues and this president prioritized a big tax cut for billionaires over everyday Americans. And it's pretty simple. That's what this is all about.
So do you, I want to know where you have to get to in order to, get to yes, which obviously you and many of your colleagues right now are a no. Does a change or a tweak of the tax cut, does that have to be part of this deal for you?
You mean the tax cut for the billionaires?
The one you've been talking about.
No, we're trying to get them to fix the premium issue.
Okay.
I realize that cutting taxes for billionaires is such a huge priority for Republicans in the House and the Senate and this president. That is their number one thing. Give a tax cut to the richest Americans. We get that. I do not expect them, to backpedal and fix that. I hope in future administrations we can have a fair tax system where the wealthier pay more and hardworking people, get to pay less. But right now, what this fight is they're raising the premiums on hardworking Arizonans. That's the part of this we're trying. That's the part of this we're trying to fix.
All right. So let's get to brass tacks on that part of it. There's some focus this morning on a good friend of yours, Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, somebody who can possibly bring the two sides together. And I know in the past you've worked with both sides of the aisle. How much movement specifically would you have to see from the president to get your vote and the necessary votes? Or is it all or nothing? They have to be 100% restored.
Well, first of all, the president needs to sit down and try to understand what this is about. When they had the meeting, earlier in the week between Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, John Thune, and the president didn't even understand the details of these premium increases and how these tax credits work. So the first step, he needs to sit down with a brief, with a piece of paper, sit down and understand what this is about. And then he's got to get back in the room. They spent a grand total of an hour. And I know that, the Democrats in the Senate and the House are willing to talk to him about this. We're willing to talk to our Republican colleagues. We are trying. But the president needs to first understand what we were talking about here and then negotiate on this. And I think we could then come to a compromise.
Senator Mark Kelly, thanks for your time. You're always welcome here on Fox 10 Talks.
All right. Thank you.
Right into the poll question. Here we go now. Which side should give in to help end the government shutdown? 65% of you are saying the Democrats. Fund the government now, fight over Obamacare later. But you got 20% saying, no, it's the Republicans. Just keep the subsidies for Obamacare. And then 15% Celeste in this poll. This is the QR code poll. You can grab it if you haven't voted yet. We'll watch these numbers move around. Some of both. How about you guys for once meet in the middle? All right, what do you see in Celeste?
Oh, this is interesting. And then in the last couple of hours, we've got 834 votes on YouTube.
Wow.
48% say Democrats. They should end the government shutdown. They should give in, fund the government now, fight over Obamacare later. And 33% say Republicans should give in, keep the subsidies for Obamacare. And 18% say some of both meet in the middle.
All right, so we're the numbers crunchers. Celeste is. She's a very good number cruncher.
These are my number crunching
Oh,
glasses.
yeah. That is Professor Rodriguez.
You'll see
right
the smoke
there.
coming from the keyboard.
Right. But when it comes to how you feel about things, that's where we bring in, ladies and gentlemen,
Big D.
Big D. Hello,
He's
Dave.
on more the emotional side of the issue. I'm the numbers gal. He's the emotional.
There you go.
Yeah, I love analyzing everybody's comments. It's so fun to see where people stand on both sides of the issue. And like we've said, everybody does it in a nice, respectful way, which is terrific. Today, Gord1 says people voting Democrats should give in are the perfect example of going against yourself. If Republicans give in, over 15 million people keep health insurance and prices remain the same or get lowered. If Democrats give in, over 15 million people lose health insurance entirely, and everyone else who has health insurance gets a 50 to 75% increase in insurance costs. Ryan's Now 1766 says the Dems have been trying to negotiate for the last 3 months about subsidies. Why would they continue to wait until the very last minute just for Republicans to ignore negotiations again? This is the lesser of two evils when it comes to forcing negotiations, because once the new budget kicks in, it'll be too late to save millions of Americans from massive increases in health insurance costs. And finally, Patty Smith 17V says the Republicans have all the power. They should not need the Democrats, and if they do, they should work with them.
There you go.
Amazing comments. Keep them up, guys.
This is the latest Dave's ever made an appearance on the program. 56 minutes, 57 minutes in.
That's why many people have stayed clocked in, Ron, because they're waiting for Big D.
Right. Okay, so we're wrapping up. Thank you for waiting for Dave. Going to take a break. Ty and Anita will follow up Celeste dancing as we thank you for watching on a Friday. Des and I will be back at 11:30.
Welcome on
Hi.
in and happy Friday. It is 11 o'clock. We're going to keep things rolling right here on Fox 10 Talks. And man, usually
Busy.
by the end of the week, we feel like things are kind of wrapping up.
Not today.
Not today.
It's just
it
starting.
has been a very busy news day. And we're going to begin with this, a arrest in a very high-profile case that we have been following here for a
We
while.
had two teenagers, Paradise Valley high school students, who were found shot to death. Mount Ord, they were camping, and that was 4 months ago. And this is the suspect that has been taken, who has been taken into custody, 31-year-old Thomas Brown. This was really shocking information to a lot of people, I think, unexpected to those people who have been waiting, obviously not the detectives who have been investigating. Kenzie Brown has been on this.
Kenzie Beach.
Beach, I'm sorry,
That's all
thank you. Has been on this, it's a Friday, it's been a week, on this since really the beginning, and was at the press conference joining us via phone. Hello, Kenzie.
Kenzie, do we have you live?
Do we
Give
have
us
her?
1 second.
There she is. I hear her.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we gotcha.
Hi. Okay, yeah, this press conference pretty crazy. The information came out last night, and I was pretty antsy waiting for this press conference this morning. Like you guys said, we've covered this for 4 months. We heard from the sheriff himself, the lead detective, the captain with the Major Crimes Division, and actually we also heard from Pandora Kolsrud, her mother, for the very first time. Very powerful, emotional. For her to get up there and speak, she said every single day for the last 4 months, she has prayed that they would find the man or person responsible for killing not only her daughter, but her daughter's friend as well. A couple things we learned. This was what the sheriff's office is saying was a random attack that Thomas Brown did. There was no meetup, nothing of the sort, but he just randomly and brutally killed these two Arcadia high school teenagers. A lot of interesting information has come out. When this originally happened, we as reporters kind of look at everything, comb through so many things, and I had seen an individual that had posted on Reddit and Facebook about being up there that weekend and that they had drone video. Well, at the time, 4 months ago, me and one of our producers messaged this individual, and it turns out that person is Thomas Brown, who is in custody for the murder.
Kenzie, did you have a conversation then with Thomas Brown? Did he respond to you?
We had a back and forth conversation with Thomas Brown over Reddit because he said that he had drone video of that weekend in Mount Ord, and I wanted to talk to him. Did you see anything up there, anything suspicious? And he said that he was cooperating with law enforcement, had given the drone video over to them. So essentially today in this press conference, that also came out that, him posting on Facebook and him posting on Reddit was kind of gave himself up to police.
I don't know if you can answer this. We tried to watch as much as the press conference as we could. Do we know when the drone video was taken in relation to when the murders occurred? Was the video taken before or after?
So there, a lot of stuff they're not speaking about right now to really protect this case. But the individual, Thomas Brown, even admitted that he had a interaction with the two teenagers. But it's just a lot of the stuff on, allegedly, he had tampered with the crime scene. His DNA was found inside the high schooler's car. They were separate from the car. And another thing we learned, it was actually Pandora Kolsrud's mother that reached out to the sheriff's office because she was in close contact with her daughter the whole time, in the morning, when they left, when they arrived. The mom even receiving a photo of the campsite that they had set up. And then a couple hours went by and she hadn't heard from her daughter, which was unlike her. And so the mother had contacted the sheriff's office saying, I think something is wrong. And that's when they sent a deputy up to Mount Ord and discovered that the two teens had been killed.
Kenzie, I want to ask you just kind of personally, what are your feelings after kind of realizing, putting two and two together, that this person that you were corresponding with for a little bit on Reddit is now the suspect in this case?
It's wild. That's the only, I'm still just kind of shocked because it came out in the court paperwork that he was posting on different social media sites saying that he was up there that weekend. And when we put two and two together and to look back on those messages from 4 months ago and knowing we were corresponding back and forth with the person who is now arrested for this, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. And I didn't have a Reddit account at the time, so I asked our other producer to, we, sat there at the desk together and we're messaging back and forth with him. So it's just wild. And as a reporter, I kept pressing. I was like, hey, we don't have to talk about the case, but I just want to talk to you what it was like up there that weekend. All these different things. It's just crazy.
Kenzie, I know they said during the press conference that they got a lot of tips in, and what specifically tips from a group of campers who encountered this suspect, Thomas Brown, and maybe mentioned that his behavior may have been a little bit odd. Do we know how they came into contact with him, where he was arrested, how he was brought in?
So in regards to the other campers, there was a group of about 5 people that were also up there that weekend that came forward with everything they knew to law enforcement, saying that they had crossed paths with Brown. And when you're driving up to Mount Ord, it is, since it's so rural and on these dirt roads, people had passed his car. They had seen his car pass the teenager's car, stuff like that. And they just noticed, these 5 hikers, that he seemed very odd and suspicious. As for them taking Thomas Brown into custody, he was taken into custody near his home. They did not go into detail with that. We asked a lot of questions about 3D printed guns and Thomas Brown's involvement with that, because that's what we're learning he did. Self-employed, a business on his own, was making 3D printed guns. And they would not speak much about that, but the answer I got is we are looking into everything. So I can assume that the sheriff's office is definitely looking into Thomas Brown and his 3D printing, alleged 3D printing gun business.
All right, Kins, last question here. I mean, I think everybody was trying to figure out, why did he do it? And in the press conference, they really said that they can't speak to a motive just yet. I know that must be really hard for the victims' families, because obviously they want to know what the heck happened up there in the mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's when the mother kind of, you could see she couldn't really hold back her emotions anymore of just, why my daughter? And, they said multiple times, the sheriff himself and the captain with major crimes, that this was a random attack. But he's being charged with first-degree murder, so... I mean, in the way the mother described her teenage daughter, just a joyful, happy, kind, adventurous teenager. I mean, the two would be in their senior year of high school right now, and sadly, that's not the case.
Kenzie, thank you so much. We're going to have you live on the noon show broadcast side, so we'll get more information there. We really appreciate it.
All right. Real quick, I want to show this. I think this is your live. Oops, hold on. Oops, wrong one. Hold on.
Keep going.
Nope, that's not right either. Sorry.
Fourth time's the charm. Hey.
I was looking for the outside the courthouse in New York for the Diddy trial.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Sorry,
big one.
it's okay. But that's another big story that we are following here. Obviously, this is the sentencing for P. Diddy. I thought we had the live images. My apologies. I was just clicking buttons here without knowing what I was
Everyone's
doing.
anticipating. I think the judge said that his children and pastor can address the courtroom.
Yes.
So it'll be very interesting. And then he finally sent a message to the judge saying that... not apologizing, but saying he lost his way. So we'll keep a tab on that for you guys throughout the afternoon.
This is what we mean. We say it was a busy
Friday.
Friday.
But now some fun?
Now some fun.
Now some fun.
We deserve it after all of that,
Cheers,
you guys.
friends. Everyone's wondering why we have a bottle of vodka on the table. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good to see you again. Trish and Bren. Yes. Okay, I remembered correctly. I met you guys. I introduced you to Ty last year, was it? So good to see you. One handsome... can we say it? 'Cause you guys can say it.
What's one handsome bastard? Yes.
Vodka.
Yeah.
Vodka. Such a remarkable story. Who wants to tell it?
Go ahead.
You both tell it.
Yeah, well, it's me and my mom. We opened the distillery about 2 years ago. Our 2-year anniversary is actually this month, which we're super excited about. We kind of started this whole thing in honor of my dad. He used to call himself that one handsome bastard. The name really stuck. His picture's actually on the bottle. Yeah, we're really proud to be able to do this for him. He has his own vodka. 10% of all the proceeds we get for his vodka goes to cancer research. We have a partnership with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So yeah, we're really proud to be doing that. And it's good vodka. It's award winning.
It is very good. Yeah. I'm not a big drinker, but I will tell you, I've had this and it's very good. Tell us a little bit, Trish, about when your husband was diagnosed and from the time he was diagnosed until he passed.
He was diagnosed with CLL in January of actually it was a little bit later, so maybe February of 2021. And he passed in, unfortunately, March of 2022.
That quick.
So yes, so basically he was treated at Mayo, and he was told that, hey, this disease you could live with for years and years and years with the proper medication. And so when he was first diagnosed, we actually went back about 3 months later to check in, and it was a situation where he needed to go through chemo right away. And so, yeah, it was shocking how fast things progressed.
Wow. Let's talk about how this transitioned then into you guys creating this award-winning vodka. How did that all come to be then? Because I love the story. It's a remarkable story.
So when after he passed, we just didn't know what to do in order to kind of keep his name alive. So they say you die twice. You die when you die, and then you die when people stop saying your name. And we just didn't want that to happen. So Bren was like, I think we should make vodka. And I have no history in that.
Bren, have you ever made vodka before?
No, but he really liked it. So we kind of, you have an idea and you don't really know how it's going to come into fruition. But we had always really wanted to do like a bar and restaurant. And making vodka, I had worked at like breweries, and I was like,
how hard could it be?
It's the same thing.
You had already had the design, like the name. You had T-shirts made. You were kind of 10 steps ahead of yourself in a way.
I had a friend who she's a tattoo artist, and what she did is she took his handwriting and like our original logo. It's not the logo that we have now, but she took pieces of his handwriting and turned it into a logo for us that said like one handsome bastard. Like he wrote it, which was cool. And so we have T-shirts, just really us.
There's like a lot of emotion. We created his own font. Like we just were
trying.
Yeah, we were upset. We were upset.
All right, we have to take a quick break. Can you guys hold on for 2 more minutes? And we're just going to talk about where folks can buy the vodka, or they can try the vodka, and then kind of the story about how. Oh yeah, Anita's going to chug it right now.
It's Friday, y'all.
Uh-oh. We'll be right back.
I saw you at Walmart. And it's so funny.
Okay,
we are
welcome back in. One handsome
Bastard
is here.
We can say it.
So tomorrow is National Vodka Day, which is one of the reasons we guys had you come in. And you just said you get to write the biggest check. So this is not just for your husband. It is for everyone who is battling cancer.
Yes, Blood Cancer United. So LLS now is called Blood Cancer United. So we, they're a partner for us, and so we get to go back to the Walmarts that we're in with little vouchers that kind of explain the relationship. So that 10% of all bottle sales go to LLS.
That is so cool.
We're really happy with what we're doing with Walmart and Safeway.
Yeah.
So.
And you're in how many stores now?
4 Walmarts in Mesa. And the Northside store
you're
in
my
Scottsdale.
you're in my Walmart.
And
so you'll see
a frequent shopper. But okay, so memorize the bottle. So next
It's
time
really
you're
cool.
at the store.
We're the only local vodka in those stores. So
And
it's
the
really
potatoes are sourced from
Poland.
Oh,
yeah, there's a connection. Yakshamash. And where is the brewery located?
We're in Old Town Scottsdale. We're in Marshall Way and Indian School.
Well, you guys, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
in.
Thanks for
and
having us.
everybody in the
so
comments
much.
is talking about how cool it is what you
It's-
guys are doing to keep his legacy
It's
alive.
amazing.
It's very cool.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's always so great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
All right. And congratulations on your
Yeah.
success.
Thank
We'll
you
have to
so
have you back again. All right, we're going to take another look outside, you guys. It has been a beautiful afternoon, and Crystal was talking about the weather, how we are going to see those temperatures in the low 90s as we head into the weekend. So hopefully you're able to get out and enjoy the weather as we head into this weekend. All right, so we were talking about tomorrow is National Vodka Day. Guess what today is?
Body Language Day.
Today is Body Language Day. So we were looking for a body language expert, and we found one.
We're
this
so
is
excited.
Miss Chantel Solomon. She is a professor at the you tell me.
Shutdown School of Human Communication.
I wrote down all my notes, and I can't even read my own handwriting.
I know,
like
you were
Newman.
rushed. You were rushed, yeah.
How does one become an expert of body language?
Oh my gosh. I think that, just being interested in human behavior, right? Interested in how people show up in different spaces and how they communicate without even saying words.
Yeah.
So that was something that was really interesting to me. And then I found communication. And so I was like, I'm diving in. I'm here for this, right? So
Can you read Ty's body language right now?
Oh, I'm going to tell you, he's so interested. He's leaning forward. He's giving me eye contact. You're smiling. You're happy to be here. Like, yeah, we're having a good time.
I think it's so interesting because you can really read a lot about a person by those nonverbal cues.
Absolutely, yeah.
What are some of the big kind of, I guess, telltale signs that people can maybe look out for when they're just kind of meeting people out in the wild?
Oh my God,
At work?
I love
At
that
work,
say
you
that.
mean?
At work or anywhere.
Just out, yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that I think about is eye contact.
Yeah.
Are you looking at me? Are you looking at your phone? Are you looking to the side? Like, are you focused on me while we're having a conversation?
So what does eye contact tell someone?
It tells someone that I'm focused, I'm interested, I'm here for you, whether it's like relational building or professional or maybe even at a doctor's appointment. You're focused on me, and what I'm saying is important to you.
What about if you're at the grocery store, maybe going through the aisle and that type of eye contact with strangers?
Oh, I love that. I love that. I smile like, hi, how are you? Those things. But sometimes people aren't in the mood or they're not in that vibe at that moment. So they'll look away and it's like, oh, okay. So in this little, hi, smile. And maybe I'm not in the mood either.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll look away, right? Or because, that's the thing about nonverbals, they convey emotion, right? And your body language conveys that, how you feel. So, yeah.
I wanted to ask kind of specific situations. Let's say dating. If you're going on a first date with someone, what are some of the things that maybe you as the person going out on the date, maybe touching, creepy petting? What does that say? But
well, the creepy petting, I don't know. I'm not about that. I think when you go on a first date, I think it starts before the actual meetup, right?
Okay.
It's like, do you have plans? Do we have reservations? All those things are communicating something like your interest, right? You get on a first date. Are you gonna hug me? Are you gonna get the side hug? Are you gonna get a handshake? What type of handshake? What type of first impression are we gonna Are you gonna get?
Does that all depend on personality or maybe attraction to the other person?
Everything.
Okay,
Personality, attraction, all the things.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I break eye contact. And I don't mean to, but it's one of those things where like too much and I have to break eye contact.
Yes.
Does that mean I'm crazy?
No. It means you're creepy.
Creepy petting.
Yes.
Creepy petting.
Creepy.
You're a
It all
creepy
comes
petter.
back to the creepy petting.
Yes. Well, I mean, a gaze. Like, there's a certain amount of eye contact that is appropriate in certain situations.
Okay.
But if you're like, hey, what's going on? You know, you're like, whoa, what is that?
Well, okay, so
Absolutely.
we talked about the date, that first initial. What about at work? What about
I was going to ask about job interviews too.
Okay. Oh,
Because
I
like
love
that's
that.
another good one where I think that you're trying to put your best foot forward.
Absolutely.
So I always think you have to like sit up straight, make the eye contact, and like what are some maybe like nonverbal ways to convey that I'm here ready
I'm
to
okay,
go and
and
I'm a
I'm not
good
a creepy
employee
petter?
and I'm not a creepy
I
petter.
mean, yeah, how much eye contact are you making with this potential boss? You know, because you don't want to stare him down either.
No, but I think eye contact can be natural. But when it comes to a job interview, give eye contact that's appropriate. Dress the part. Appearance communicates. How we operate in the space communicates. The forward lean, right? Like how you're doing now,
see, I
right?
didn't
They even say
see
that
that.
mimicking behavior is, you know, something that builds rapport. Because you want to feel that connection. You're like, I am interested in this job. I want this job. And I'm going to show you how I operate in space with my posture, with my eye contact, with my smile and my facial expressions, that I'm interested in this job.
Can you tell when people are disingenuine, when they're fake, when that smile is fake, or when they won't?
That's a
when-
question that Little Philosophy
Oh,
just
there we
asked.
go.
Can
Look
you
at that.
tell
We're-
if someone is faking body
There we
language?
go.
I think it just seems a little stiff, unnatural. It doesn't match their words. So, you know that saying, actions speak louder than words?
Yes.
True.
Huh.
Absolutely true.
You know when you like pass someone on the street and they have like a stern face, you automatically like assume like, ooh, that person's probably like a grump or in a bad mood or a mean. But it's like
Yeah.
those nonverbal cues. I feel like as humans, we kind of maybe pick up on those before we even meet the person. Like you're judging a book by a cover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actions speak louder than words. We're always communicating something, and passing someone on the street that's not giving you eye contact is probably thinking about something that's happened at home, or thinking about that project that's due on Friday night at midnight, or something along those lines. But I also think too that they're very ambiguous. We never know what someone's going through, or you know what could be going on in their life. So being flexible with our, like I tell my students, our judgy pants.
Our judgy pants.
yeah.
Ronnie, can you do me a favor? Can you pull up the big D cam, please? Don't move, Dave. I see you moving. Don't move. We want to analyze our producer's body language.
Oh, I love this. Let's see it. Where are you?
Look on that monitor right there. We're gonna find it.
Okay, so do you see your monitor right there? We're going to try to pop it up. I don't see a button here. That's what I've been looking at. The Dave cam. I wonder if we can analyze.
Well,
okay, I guess not.
Just look. Okay, look at that little tiny.
Do you
one
see
right
the middle and the pan? That one right there. There's Dave.
Oh, hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Can we do forks up?
Forks up.
Forks up.
He doesn't know how to do forks up.
Yes. Okay.
He's got
Mimic
it.
my body language. Mimic my body language. Oh yeah. So he.
Oh, there we go. There's Dave.
Yes,
We got
Dave.
it.
Love that. Dave's a happy guy. Look at that
He is.
smile. He's so happy. He's happy to be here. He's leaning forward. He's interested. He's giving us eye contact. He's giving us nonverbals as we're communicating, telling us that he's still interested in what I'm saying, what we're saying. I think Dave likes his job.
Dave, look at that.
Dave, look
A plus
at
for
you.
Dave on a Friday.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up, not
Two
one,
thumbs up,
2.
not even one. You got 2. Yay!
I love it. Now you obviously are kind of an expert in this field. So when you enter a room, like, okay, I gotta ask this: your
Ask it.
friends.
Yeah.
I mean, your friends probably can't get away
They
with
know what
anything.
you do.
Well, all my friends are professors, so we all
You all analyze each other.
Well,
is what you're saying.
We have what we call like meta communication. We always communicate about our communication.
Yeah.
So that's something that I love about my friendships. But not all my friends are professors.
Yeah.
My besties are. But acquaintances. Nice to meet you. It is the eye contact. It is the smile. It is like a little bit of intrigue, because I'm naturally someone that's curious.
Yeah.
Just about human behavior.
I
Going
think
back to why I'm even
That's how
in
we
this.
are too. That's why we're
in
here.
this job. Yeah.
What type of courses do you teach? What type of courses can people take to learn more about
So
this?
the first course, at ASU that I would suggest you take is, well, COM 100, which is learning about nonverbals, learning about perception, learning about identity, but also there is a specific nonverbal communication course that I've taught a few times. I teach public speaking, and that's a big component of public speaking is how you're communicating with your body. Also, I teach family communication, how we operate in our families. That's always very important. And how do we learn how to communicate from our families?
Yeah.
And relational communication, conflict and negotiation. I mean, the Hugh Down School, we have it all, which is something that I really love about Arizona State.
Give us some tips.
Okay.
Maybe family communication or communicating with a spouse or significant other.
Yeah.
How can you tell they're lying?
When their words don't match their actions, always believe the actions. But something that I just recently taught in one of my COM 100 classes was talking about the different types of hugs. Hugs, how you hug, the pressure, the side, the smile. How do you hug? How long do you hug? What's the eye contact look like?
Hugging can be awkward.
Yeah,
and not
I know.
Well, it can't because not everyone's a hugger.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you're going in for it. And I'm a hugger with certain people.
Yeah,
I'm not,
of course.
Am I on the list for a hug?
Yeah.
Okay.
You and I always
just making sure.
Yeah. Well, only because I've known you for a very long
forever,
time.
yeah.
Right.
But I'm not like a handshaker and a hugger with people I don't know well. I prefer to say hi, hello with a pleasant smile.
Yeah, that's great.
But
everybody's unique and everybody communicates differently. And that's a good thing to remember is communication, and especially nonverbal and body language, is ambiguous.
So when you go to hug someone and they're like, they
Oh,
stiffen up.
they tense up.
Then that's a body language
that
cue.
Is
like,
body language.
Stop hugging me.
Which is, they're stiff. They're uncomfortable, or they didn't expect that, or they're a little uncertain. What do you want from me? Right?
Yeah. Just a hug.
Yeah, just hugs are really interesting.
I just find this fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Charles David says you don't like hugs.
We're
not huggers. We're not like big huggers.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'd rather do like a, what's up?
Yeah. Like, yes. And, it was interesting. We were having a conversation before we came here this morning about, like, the fist bump, right? And when I said hello to Syleste when we came in, she gave me an elbow, right? And it wasn't anything to do with, like, her not knowing me or whatever.
Right.
It was, she had a laptop in her hand.
Yeah.
She just got done with her day.
You have to take it all into consideration.
We only have 10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
You have been such a fun guest. Can you come back?
Yes, I would love to.
All
Okay,
right.
last thing. Forks up, everybody.
Forks up.
Wait.
No, girl, that's the
I
horse.
went to DePaul.
Forks up. Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, especially on a Friday, we love our new music. Des, are you with me there 100% or what?
Absolutely. We were jamming out on Monday.
Yeah, we were jamming. All right, so you're looking live at a really beautiful day. I cannot believe that Crystal, all of a sudden now, is talking about another big storm. I don't know if it's like a tropical storm, will it be a hurricane, what's going on, that might impact us in another week.
Well, I was going to say, wait, since when? Because
Correct.
that was not the case at 4:30 this morning.
Yeah, I know.
When did that happen?
Well, so she's tracking it. It's way down there by like Acapulco, Mexico. But if it does kind of swing north, I mean, I hope we never go through a day like we had last Friday. We all want the rain, but not like that. But now we're watching a whole new one. Something else we're watching this morning. In fact, I got a live pic right here on ENG 21. You would not know from this angle. There's a huge crowd that has gathered out in front of the courthouse in Manhattan as we get ready for the sentencing for Sean Diddy Combs, and we've been saying, it's 2:30 in the afternoon there. This is not going to go till midnight. It's going to happen here in the next few hours. But we've been saying all along that we would kind of follow the case all the way through for you. And Des, we've got one of the best, I think, legal experts here in town who's going to walk us through some of this. That's Josh Kolsrud coming up in a little while.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear from him so he can shed some insight and, give us, maybe some things that we can look for and expect as he's sentenced later today.
Yeah. Okay, so big case, that's for sure. Big name in American music, but now one of the biggest in the legal system in our country right now, that's for sure. So this is Fox 10 Talks. We start every morning at 10 a.m. sharp, and then Des and I, we are, it's a lot of pressure to try to wrap up the 2 hours, but that's what we do every morning from 11:30 till noon.
Thanks. I didn't feel the pressure till you said anything. I'm just kidding. Always going to be here with you, Ron.
Okay, and then one of our favorite guests here is also one of the best known reporters on our staff, that's for sure. It's Justin Lum. Hey, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
You guys are the closers.
We're the
Thanks
closers.
for wrapping it up.
Oh, I like that.
Finish strong.
We are the Mariano Rivera of the streaming world.
I appreciate you guys having me on for the second time today on Fox 10 Talks. So.
Des, I don't know if you're aware, we actually had Justin on in the last hour just to kind of preview today's segment. So once again, as soon as the Diddy news breaks, if it's in like 3 minutes, we'll bring it to you, that's for sure. But otherwise, we've got Josh all set and ready to go at 11:45. But the reason we asked Justin to join us last hour and then this hour, last time Justin got himself involved in a long-running story, he became, I don't think this is overstating it, he became the preeminent reporter in the country covering the Lori Daybell trial. And people came to us in huge numbers. Hundreds of thousands of people watched because they trust Justin's reporting. And this time around, Des, he's got a whole new area of his investigative skills that he's put into work, and it's really interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I say that he is one of the hardest, if not the hardest working person in the newsroom. I'm a big Justin Lum fan.
Yeah.
And you've been looking into something really, really important involving minors that have, been wrapped up in the DCS.
Yeah, it's something that we've all been covering in our newsroom this year, these tragedies that have been happening in our area, in Arizona. And so we wanted to take a deep dive into runaway teens. And this special is called Runaway Teens Missing in the System. That connotation sometimes, a lot of times, when you hear runaway, right, like they don't get as much coverage or attention as the term missing, So I think we wanted to take that head on and to discuss what went wrong, specifically for 3 girls that you guys will be introduced to in this special report. 16-year-old Zariah Dodd, 16-year-old Anaya Walker, and 14-year-old Emily Pike. Covered their cases extensively, and their tragedies really shed light on a pattern within this system.
Okay, so we're going to get into all of that right now, but I did want to share with everybody, just to kind of familiarize with it. You may have seen some of this. This is sort of the setup for what you're going to be seeing with just some of Justin's reporting tonight. Hang on for this right now.
The earth shook, the house shook. A woman's body is found in a park.
3 teens
Her killers haven't been found.
3 tragedies, 1 system's failures.
Major changes need to happen.
My brother's baby was dumped here like she was a piece of trash.
It was a nightmare. That's how I would describe it, a nightmare.
The system failed her. They failed her, man.
Fox 10 investigates Runaway Teens.
And one of the reasons I wanted to bring that in, Justin, is even in that little clip, you know, we report on the news a lot about these kinds of stories, but it's not until you feel the heartbreak of these family members that I think in large part it really hits you and makes you sort of sit up and take notice as to what's been happening.
Yeah, it becomes very personal because you feel their heartbreak. Like you said, you feel the emotion, you know, sitting there at a round table with family members of Zariah Dodd talking about the challenges they faced when they wanted to get custody of her. She was in the system since she was 1 year old because of issues that her parents had, but, you know, getting stuck in that system, living in numerous group homes and in kinship care as well. And then she gets involved with the man who's basically twice her age. And the red flags that were there earlier this year when she confided in a caseworker saying that she was having sexual relations with this man because she felt intimidated. That's according to court records. And she's found shot in the head at Maryview Park. Long ways away, really, from Surprise. She didn't drive herself. She ran away from her group home to be with the 2 suspects now charged in her murder. And she was nearly 6 months pregnant. So that's one story that hits hard. Emily Pike, we all know where she was found, about an hour and a half away from Mesa. And to stand there with her uncle and to look at the memorial and imagine, you know, this little girl was found, her remains dismembered and found in trash bags, and there's still no justice for her. So those are a couple of the stories. And Anaya Walker, you know, she was believed to be trafficked while she was in DCS custody in a routine runaway. You know, her parents just feel like they tried to do what they could and they trusted the system to care for her. Each one is unique in its case of how they were failed. So we explore that.
And I think your special is going to be so important because, like you touched base on earlier, when you hear runaway, right, I think most people might hear that word and place blame on the child. Oh, they chose to run away. It was their decision. But they're children nonetheless. And I think a lot of people will place blame on their families too. Well, why were they in DCS? Yeah. There's so many different layers to all of these stories that you're getting into. What was kind of, are you seeing a pattern in this without giving away too much of your special? But what have you noticed in these investigations?
I think what I noticed are gaps in communication with Zariah's case being in many different group homes when her family was actually notified, the kinship family that basically, you know, who was the one who was going to get first notice from DCS that she was missing. And by the time they got notice, she was already dead. You know, how long did it take for the group home to let police know that she had run away as well? When exactly did her caseworker notify police that she was having sexual relations, sexual misconduct, basically with a man who was in his 30s, and it was happening for months? Those are the questions that we get into. And then we also speak to a former caseworker who talks about the amount of kids that they have to manage and the overwhelming caseload. The turnover is high. I mean, caseworkers last an average of 2 years. So what needs to be done to keep, you know, kids safe? And when you have tribal kids that are placed in DCS homes, where the gap in that notification and the communication between the state and tribes, that's something that we uncovered. That was a big issue too with Emily Pike's case. Yeah.
Do you find as you're, you know, the more digging you do, that there are, I don't even want to call, in our business we call it a sidebar, but it's not a sidebar. It's a main avenue of investigation. I mean, you're looking into how the state is handling, you know, these children. As Des points out, they're teenagers, but they're so young, and you're looking into the kind of the interaction between them and the state. But then you could do individual reporting on every one of the Zariah Dodd case, for example. You could spend hours just talking about the investigation into the killing, into the murder.
Exactly. No, you're right. And that's why we wanted to do this special report to encompass all the several reports that we had done on Zariah, Emily. There's been reporting on Anaya Walker as well. So I think we wanted to give a comprehensive platform for this so people could get it, in one shot and really put the time into it. But we have done a lot of coverage on it as well. And these are Arizona's most vulnerable kids. How is the state protecting them? Are they doing a decent job? Where are they failing? It's not just to point the finger at them or law enforcement, but where all these kids' stories are different. And to just have a blanket term of runaways, I think a lot of the times they get judged for that. Like you said, each one has their own story. And so we just want to shed light on that. And in a way, the call to action is streamed tonight at 8 o'clock so you can see for yourself. So there can be change. The more people that know about what's going on in our state, I think that helps create change.
And what is the biggest challenge that you see in doing these investigative pieces? Because I think oftentimes you're looked at as the bad guy. You're trying to bring you're trying to bring someone down. But what is the biggest challenge, and how do you overcome that to bring us great pieces like this?
I think it's, just trying to get all the sides. And in this case, we have reached out to DCS multiple times to speak to their director. This is the 5th director since 2019. We have not gotten a legitimate response of if we can have an interview. We got statements here and there, but trying to get all the sides and perspectives to find out what the systemic issue is. It's not black or white. It's really very gray. It's really very blurry.
And oftentimes
that's
it's
a
not
job.
even one individual or one institution's fault, right? It's like you mentioned, communication among the department, the state, the tribes. It's multifaceted.
Yeah, it's multiple systems connected, and there are failures there, and there has to be reform, and there will be some immediate reforms, as you'll see in our special. But what needs to happen in the legislative session in 2026, because this has been, you've covered this market for a long time, Ron. This has been an issue. We were talking about Jan Brewer earlier in 2014, basically getting rid of CPS and creating DCS. What did that do? The revamp. But here we are still with the same issues.
And did I hear you correctly? You've requested but still have not managed to get a sit down with the director, who's a public employee, pay her salary paid by the state of us, the taxpayers.
Yeah, we've asked multiple times and haven't got an answer on that. She has done interviews with other outlets, and we'd like the same chance, but that wasn't going to stop us from doing this report, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and tell everybody real quick, 15 seconds, how they can watch.
Tonight at 8 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, or head to the Fox Local app. Really easy to download. Runaway Teens Missing in the System, streaming tonight.
That is our Justin Lum. Justin, thank you. We'll be watching at 8 right here on the YouTube stream. Here's a Mystery Cam. Back in 2 minutes.
You're the best. Thank you, Justin.
And we welcome you back at 11:45. We did invite you to come on in and give us your guesses here. And this, to me, seems like a really beautiful lake somewhere in our country, Des. I'm just looking to see. Okay, so we have an IDK from Low Philosophy, but also a guess. I don't know, but how about Pennsylvania? Halakita is saying New Hampshire. And let's see. Do we see? Charles David is saying he feels like he could be up in the Great Northwest. Could be Washington. I'm looking at it hard, Des.
Oh,
I am.
Well, I feel like you would know Washington very well.
Correct.
And you didn't go and blurt that out.
Correct.
So I'm not thinking it is Washington.
I'm going to be proved a fool in a moment here. But I like that New England guess from Halakita. I think I'm going to go with her with New Hampshire. How about you? We got a Husky mom with a Colorado.
I like Colorado.
All right.
The water, I don't know.
I mean,
What
do you like it or do you like it as a guess, Des?
I'm going to go ahead and guess it.
All right.
What are you guessing?
New Hampshire.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, you were
Let's
right.
see what we got.
Guilford, New Hampshire.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember the name of the lake that they have. It's a small state with a gigantic lake in it. I think it's that lake. And
Have you been
look
there?
It up. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It might be Sunapee, but there's another. I think there's another lake that's even bigger up there. Anyway, who knows? Let's find out. Winnipesaukee.
Okay, there you go. It's Winnipesaukee.
Yes, good. Okay, great. Anyway, welcome back. We invited Josh Kolsrud to come in. We always feel like Josh really is able to kind of give us a lot of perspective that you don't even think about on some of these high-profile legal cases. And Josh, we're all watching that courthouse. Let me get that live picture going again. There it is, right there. At literally any moment, we're going to get the sentencing. As you've been watching, what do you think will ultimately be the 2 or 3 key factors for the judge in this case?
This is a very unique case. Number one, because it involves a huge mega star and everything is under a microscope. Now, this case isn't just about P. Diddy. It's about what can a judge consider? What can a judge do with a jury's verdict? And what I mean by that is that the prosecution is asking the judge to consider conduct that he was previously acquitted for. What I mean by that is the jury found him not guilty on the major counts of sex trafficking and RICO charges. But the government is saying, well, look, Judge, even though he was found not guilty, we still want you to consider the evidence that made up those charges. And so because of that, they're saying, look, we want the maximum sentence. We are swinging for the fences. We're asking for 20 years. However, if you don't like that theory, we're going to ask for a different sentence, which is 11 and a quarter. So they're kind of they're asking for 2 different theories here.
Josh, I got to jump in right now. Are they not making a huge mistake if they are trying to influence the judge to include information that the jury already said, we don't buy it? Now, at sentencing time, they're trying to get that back in. Would that not be subject potentially to an appeal?
It certainly does, and that's exactly what P. Diddy's attorneys said in their 163-page sentencing memorandum, which I reviewed when I was doing my homework before coming in here.
Okay.
And it was very lengthy. And one of the arguments that they made is that it's double jeopardy, that you can't be accused and punished for conduct that you were found acquitted for. But the prosecutor explained that under the law, you actually can. And we're asking the judge, or this is them saying this, to consider the underlying conduct of the 2 counts he was convicted of. So remember, he was convicted of 2 counts of transporting adult women across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. Now, the defense asked for a dismissal on this a few days ago, saying, well, P. Diddy was just the photographer. He was just the videographer. So how is this different than just pornography? But the judge didn't buy that argument and said, no, we're going to go with sentencing. Now, P. Diddy's attorneys are also making another very interesting argument, What they're saying is P. Diddy should be treated just like similarly situated defendants. And they listed a few cases that are similar in nature. One of them was about a defendant who was exploiting people that were here without status and forcing them into prostitution across state lines. And in that case, they pointed out that that person only got 15 months in prison. And there was another defendant that they spoke about who was exploiting people that had mental handicaps and were doing the same thing, forcing them into prostitution and sending them across state lines. And that person also got a sentence around 15 months. So they're saying, wait a minute, you guys are throwing the book at our client, treating him differently than you would if his name wasn't P. Diddy. So we think that 14 months, which would be a time served sentence because he's already served 13 months, would be the appropriate sentence in this case. Now, interestingly enough, so in every federal case, there's always three different recommendations. You have the prosecution's recommendation, you have the defense's recommendation, but you also have pretrial services recommendation. Now, pretrial services is a neutral party. They work for the court, and they compile a very in-depth report that gives the biography of the defendant, the circumstances of the offense, and any aggravating or mitigating factors. And here, the pre-sentence report does not identify any aggravating factors, especially the ones that the prosecution has identified as relevant to the sentencing for those two counts. So the pretrial services is actually asking for a 70-month sentence. That's between 5 and 6 years. But again, the prosecution is asking for 6 different enhancements, and the pre-sentence report is saying, no, we do not see that here legally speaking, that there is not a legal basis for the prosecution to do that. And the defense is saying, yep, we agree with the pretrial services.
With the pretrial.
Exactly.
Right, of course. So what do you think might happen in this case? Because there have been reports where the judge has called the prosecution's evidence, including some of the testimony involving the escorts and all of that, as pretty compelling. So what do you take of that?
Well, that's an interesting question. So the judge in this case, and judges overall sometimes like to put their thumbs on the scale. Here, the judge had 3 different opportunities to release P. Diddy. And if he was going to release P. Diddy, it would have been after the verdict, where he was only convicted of the 2 lower counts, but he didn't. And that tells me that P. Diddy is going to get some time in prison. Because why wouldn't he release him if, he's really just going to get a lower sentence? I could be wrong, but that should be an indication. But also, you have some really compelling victim testimony from Cassie Ventura and the anonymous victim that also testified during his trial. And they're asking the court for a significant time in prison because they all believe that when P. Diddy comes out, and this is in their victim impact statement, that he's going to come after them.
Do those letters really make a difference? Or is the judge looking like, no, I'm following the book, I'm following the laws? We have the statements, but are they really helpful?
Oh, they definitely are. Yep. The judges take those statements very seriously. But one victim, the one that failed to appear at trial, victim number 3, she wrote a very interesting letter. In that letter, she said that the prosecution encouraged them and almost coerced them into testifying against P. Diddy in a way that they didn't feel was honest. And that's why they didn't show up to trial. And by the way, P. Diddy's a great guy and that he would never do anything wrong. And of course, he shouldn't receive any time in prison. So there's a very interesting development. You have 2 different victims, charged victims, Cassie Ventura and the anonymous victim, and the 3rd victim who is disagreeing with those 2, who've all submitted victim impact statements to the court.
Now,
that's interesting.
We all saw the video. We were all shocked by it, really disturbed. I'm talking about the hotel surveillance video. How does that influence a judge's thinking? The jury, that horse has already left the barn. But in terms of today, does that impact the judge? We live in a visual world, and I don't think anybody who saw it can get it out of their minds.
Well, it has to be connected to one of the two charges he was convicted of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And if it wasn't, the judge is going to say it's not relevant for the purposes of sentencing. Yeah. Now, the video that you're mentioning, though, where P. Diddy is very graphically assaulting Cassie Ventura will be considered because that is in relation to transporting her across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. So there is an element of violence here that's very visceral, and you can see it, and it's just horribly graphic.
Wow. All right. Now, I have a theory that judges who have great latitude, if they know the spotlight of the entire country is on them, and they could lean one way or the other, they're going to lean harsher because you generally don't get the outrage that you would if you were accused of going way too light in a sentencing. What do you think? What's your take on that?
I think that the judge here wants to do the right thing. And I think that if he went to 20 years, that's too extreme on the one end. And if he gave him a time-served sentence, that's too extreme on the other. I think that the judiciary in general wants to regain the confidence of the public, especially after the last 2 years of kind of some acrimony. And I think that this judge in particular has done a really good job of asking the right questions to the prosecutors and judges and the defense attorneys about the status of the case, the law. He brought them in a week ago to talk about the legality of the pornography. Like, how is this different than pornography? Like, he wanted to get to the granular level. Tell me why we should be going forward with sentencing. And I like that. It tells me that he's paying attention, that he's reading everything, and I really think that he's going to try to do the right thing.
Well, I'll just say this. By the time you're watching this on YouTube, the sentence may very well have come down because we're live, but then it's called video on demand, and people watch this show over and over again all day long into the evening hours. So you'll know that answer, but now based on all the information, Des, that Josh just gave us, I think we'll have a much greater understanding of how the judge came to the decision.
Yeah, so insightful, Josh. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Well, it always happens. Josh does give us all plenty to think about, that's for sure. I don't know what the next case is going to be, but hopefully we can call you.
Anytime.
Okay. And thank you for watching Fox 10 Talks. Feel like it's been a great show. If you're just watching the last few minutes now, scrub all the way back. 2 hours of a lot of great information on one of those days where, frankly, there's been a lot of news happening, that's for sure. But, Des, for now, we got to say our goodbyes.
Yeah, goodbye. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.